All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We got Friday, almost the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, but we got Friday, October 21st, some NBA games to jump into, a pretty big slate here, so we're going to jump into that. As always, guys, we go through each and every game. I give you what I'm thinking, give you where my head is at, but make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. That is where all my final plays will be. Any changes, any additions, if you throw a couple player props in, that type of thing. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment and join the Discord with the link in the description. That's where a lot more discussion can go on about these picks, whether it's myself talking about it or the hundreds or thousands of other people in there actually that are talking about picks on a daily and nightly basis. Make sure to check that out. But yeah, I can't stress enough, keep an eye on the pinned comment. We go through each and every game, completely transparent about how I feel about the game, but I want you guys to know, if I'm being transparent, I want you guys to know what I'm actually rolling with finally at the end of the day. So make sure to keep an eye on that pinned comment. But before we do that, guys, I'm asking you guys to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 12,000 subscribers. We got the live count right next to us. So make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. Cannot thank you guys enough for the recent support. We are almost at 12,000 subscribers. We just finished up, I feel like it was yesterday, finishing up our 11,000 subscriber giveaway, and then all of a sudden we're already on our way to 12,000. So can't thank you guys enough. But yeah, let's jump right into this one. First off, we're going with the first 5 games on the board. Second half of the video will be the second 6. There's 11 games on the slate tonight. But we're starting it off with Chicago taking on Washington here. Washington at home, 1.5 a point on some books. Underdog here. The total is 224.5. And honestly, I would play this up to -3 Chicago. I think that this is a very good line. They're coming off of a win that I didn't expect necessarily against the Heat opening night, but they are still, in my opinion, just the better team in comparison to Washington here. I know that they have some injuries, Levine being one of those, but I do think that they're just a better team overall, and they're probably riding a high off of that opening night win over Miami. So I'm going to go Chicago here, -1.5. I've seen it most commonly. If you get it at -1, which we've seen, definitely pull the trigger, obviously, but -1.5 is the more common line right now. I'm pulling the trigger on -1.5 for Chicago in terms of a lean. In terms of total, I would look at the under here. A little sketchy. I know totals are kind of tough to judge right now. Like, my model is nowhere near being ready to roll out to the world or even my own judgment as of right now. So I would lean under, but it truly is a lean. You're going to see very few totals to start the year here. But next game up, just to be clear, my lean there is Chicago -1. Next game up, we have the Pelicans taking on the Hornets. God, the Hornets are one of my favorite plays night one. They end up smoking San Antonio, but here they are 5.5 point dogs against the Pelicans here. LaMelo didn't end up playing night one. He's still out indefinitely with an ankle injury, I believe. Cody Martin is doubtful as well. In terms of Pelicans injuries, Jackson Hayes is questionable for Friday. The Pelicans look good in night one, and I truly do think that this game is a back and forth. But I'm going to lean the lean the Hornets here. I think if this was a 3.5 line, I'd probably be looking at the Pelicans. But I do think 5.5 points is a lot to give a Charlotte team that did look pretty good. Now, defensively, I wouldn't give them that nod, but they look decent on the offensive end when it came to night one. So I'm going to go with them just in the, I guess, leaning towards the idea that it is opening, home opener for them. They are getting a chunk of change in 5.5 points. It's not like a, it's not nothing to tip your nose at. It's a decent amount of points, and they did look pretty good night one. The Pelicans, I think Pelicans probably win this game, but I'm willing to lean Hornets here +5.5. It's almost like I'm fading the -5.5. I don't think the Pelicans' smart play is -5.5s. So I'm going to go with the Hornets here. I love the Hornets. They've made us a lot of money the last couple of years. I don't know if I end up making this a final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if it does. But I don't think that the Pelicans 5.5 is necessarily the lock. I just don't think that I can content myself here with New Orleans -5.5. So I know that's confusing. This is probably one we stay away from. I think the Charlotte Hornets keep it tight, but I don't know. That line is a pretty sharp line here. If this was 3.5 or 4.5, I probably would end up pulling the trigger on the Pelicans. I made no sense there, but you know what? What can you do? Next up, we got the team that we just mentioned. The Hornets beat the San Antonio Spurs, traveling to Indiana here. Indiana, -3 at home. Both these teams 0-1. Both 0-1 against the spread. Indiana, I'm probably just going to lean the home team here. I think these are both teams that are in very similar places. So I'm going to go Indiana -3. And in fact, this is a very strong, I know, weird game that I like have a strong stance on, but I do feel like Indiana, you know, having this home opener, San Antonio isn't that great of a team, just based on night one. Things can change. Obviously, not much data to go off of right now, but I think Indiana -3 at home, coming off of a loss, means a little bit more to them. So I'm going to look at Indiana -3. It has a strong chance of being a final play, if I'm being honest. Total is 231 right now. I almost want to pull the under on that. I know I talked about the 228 rule, but you know, the totals haven't been our best friends here. We were 1-1 in totals night one, so it's kind of like a up in the air right now. So I'm sticking away from totals, but I would lean under. All right, we got my Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat, and what's great to see is that the Celtics, and I'm saying great because I'm a Celtics fan, go figure, the Celtics #1 in the power rankings for a lot of books out there. Celtics 2.5 point favorites here on the road against Miami. Believe it or not, I'm a massive Celtics fan. In fact, sound the psycho alarm, right? I usually take the Celtics. I'm biased. I tell you when I'm biased. I tell you when I'm not biased. This is an unbiased pick here. I like the over in this game. Both these teams are offensive, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a, you know, too much of a nod both these teams are defensive. I meant to say that. I think there's too much of a nod from the books in terms of these team defense. So I'm gonna look at the over 218 in this one. Whether it's a final play or not, I don't know. You guys, if you've watched for a couple years now and you're an OG of the channel, you know that I can have plenty of enjoyment watching the Celtics without betting on them. So I'm not the best Celtics person to look at when talking about betting, because I do kind of give the green eyes at some point. At least I own it. But I do look at the over here. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment, see if it becomes a final play. All right, last game of the first half of this video before we jump into the rest of the games here. We got the Pistons taking the Knicks. Pistons getting 6 to 6.5. I've seen 6.5, so I put that in the graphics here. But 6 is the most common line here. I've seen 6.5 for the Pistons, and you know what? It's kind of crazy. I know the Pistons hung with the Magic and then ultimately beating them, but I think this Pistons team, I think that they're, I don't know how to phrase this, of the crappy teams in the league, I think that they're, you know what, might smell the least. I think that they could actually have somewhat of a susceptibly decent, I don't even know if that's the right vocab word, but decent season, okay? So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think I ultimately pull the trigger on a final play, but I'm going to lean Pistons here plus the 6.5. I think that this game probably finished with the Knicks winning by 3 or 4. So I'm going to go Pistons here plus 6.5. Guys, before we get into the rest of the slate, I got to talk to you a little bit about Sportsline. Sportsline, the best place to start your sports prediction process. You head over to Sportsline, they simulate each and every game for you 10,000 times. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. I think I got that right. 10,000 times, guys. So you can start your sports prediction process, and when you're betting on games, you can start that on the right foot with some computer data-driven information. They also have Vegas experts on the site giving their picks, their rationale, and all of that stuff. They track their units, whether they're up, down. You can ride the hot ones. You can fade the cold ones. That type of thing. They also have box score projections as well. So make sure to check out Sportsline. Link in the description. You can get Sportsline 3 months. 1, 2, 3 months. Quarter of the year. For $4.99 with the link in the description. When you click the link, you'll be brought to a page with a bunch of different deals. Check out the promo codes right on that deal. It's dynamic. It'll change, but make sure to check out the promo code there. Use that promo code, and you can get Sportsline for a severe discount, guys. Sportsline's super generous to you guys because you guys keep hammering it. You can't keep hammering the link in the discount code, and I'm hearing good things, so I love to see that. You guys know that I used Sportsline prior to working with them, so it's like, I'm living proof of someone that feels like the tool is valuable. So make sure to check out Sportsline, guys. Great tool when it comes to your sports prediction process. I truly do believe that. But let's jump into the second half of this slate. We're looking at Orlando taking on the Atlanta Hawks. And surprisingly here, the Hawks only, and I say that, it kind of gives away my pick here. Hawks are only 8.5 point favorites here. And it tells me there could be a little something iffy about this, because I would have put Houston and Orlando in the same sort of bucket, right? And just 2 nights ago, Atlanta was 10 point favorites over Houston. So 8.5 looks like a full-blown pull the trigger on them. Something fishy there. It makes me want to stay away from this game altogether, because I think the Hawks should be 9 to 10.5 point favorites over them. But the fact that we're getting an extra point there tells me there's a little something under the curtain or behind the curtain. So we're probably sticking away from this game, if I'm being honest. Next up, we have the Nets 3 point favorites here against the Raptors at home. Nets, they end up taking that loss to the Pelicans night one. But I think that they bounce back here at home. I know that they got some sort of things that need to be hashed out. Ben Simmons, Durant, Kyrie, all the drama and everything like that. There's too much talent on that team. I feel like that to start 0-2. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm making stuff out of thin air. You know what I mean? But I do truly think that there's too much talent on that team to go 0-2 to start the year, especially with this being a home game. In terms of the Raptors playing Cleveland, Cleveland looked like they had that game at different points during the last the last game opening night there. So I think Brooklyn can definitely take this 3-point hit and take down the Raptors. But make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if it becomes a final play. Rockets 5-point dogs here at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies, I think, are the play. They end up taking down the Knicks night one. Closer game than I would have thought, but I don't think that the Rockets are anything to, lock in here. Remember when the Rockets last year, I forgot about this. You remember the Rockets went off and they were covering left and right. They're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. I mean, that's amazing. Not going to be like that to start the year, obviously. So I think the Houston Rockets, I like it. The Hawkets are kind of a instant fade right now. I like the Memphis Grizzlies here, -5. Total's 229.5. I look at the under. T-Wolves, 8.5-point favorites over the Jazz. And you know what? Did we already do the cycle alarm in this video? We're doing it again. I'm looking at the Jazz +8.5. I said in the last video, I was like, maybe I'm crazy to take them against the Nuggets, right? Well, genius. They end up cashing against the Nuggets. They surprise everyone. And for whatever reason, I'm thinking, you know what? 8.5 still is a decent amount. I know they had a fire sale. They got rid of everyone. They got, who knows who on that team type of thing. Now, I still feel like the Jazz have a little bit of something in them where they are going to grind it out with teams. So Jazz is going to be my lean here, +8.5. Please keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that becomes a final play. I would love it to be, but I don't know if I can get myself there totally. Warriors, 5.5-point favorites over the Nuggets here. One thing I'm waiting to see if the Warriors are going to be playing their starters full minutes, but obviously the Nuggets take that L to the team we just talked about. The Jazz, Warriors looked amazing night one, and I think that this one, you see it 229.5 total. I'm going to be monitoring that line because I am very interested in the over. I'd love it if we can get it at 228.5. Don't know if it's going to get all the way down to that, but I am going to keep an eye on that. I don't know if I love a side on this game. I think that that's a pretty damn sharp line, if I'm being honest. I would tell you the Warriors are going to win this game by 5 points, but that's not enough to mess with there. So I'm going to stay away from the spread here, but I will keep an eye on the total. I'm looking at the over. It's over or bust for me, but keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if I pull the trigger on that. And last game here, I love this game. Phoenix -4 over Portland is my play in this one. I think that this is a big time overreaction to how Phoenix played night one against the Mavericks, right? They did end up getting the win, but take the L against the spread. And Portland surprised everyone, surprised me. We're on the wrong side of that one. We can give ourselves a womp womp, right? Portland beats Sacramento. I think this is a little bit of an overreaction to that, especially early in the year. It's a little bit of a volatile line. I love Phoenix -4. It's probably going to be a final play if I'm being completely honest. But that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. We're adding player props, all that good stuff, guys. We're still trying to iron out exactly how we're gonna go through these videos moving forward. I'd love to do the we have 2 plays today in this video and all that, but I really am such an NBA junkie, and you can let me know in the comments if you like or don't like, but I am such an NBA junkie. I love looking at each and every game and at least talking to you guys about it, whether it's a final play or not. So that is the format that we're rolling with for now, so hope you guys do appreciate it. But all my final plays, I don't sell picks. I don't think, look at the brand we started, right? I don't sell picks. I don't consider myself a genius. All I know is I'm better at this than I am worse. We're end up being profitable, whether we're winning 1,000,000 units or 1 unit. Profit's profit. We're just giving our thoughts on the game and that type of thing. So I don't sell picks. We put them all for free in the pinned comment. I'm never going to sell my picks. That's pretty dumb. I'm too much of a dummy to do that. But hopefully you guys do respect that. And hopefully you guys do go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. Again, we're on our way to 12,000 subscribers. We're going to do a giveaway there. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.